how do you override that negative thought process? Is your values. Your
Mm,
values are like your foundation.
yep.
Like if you want to build something great, remember I said the size of your faith is a measure of your goal.
Yep.
But then what also is important is the structure of your life, right? So you can have these big faith and these big goals, but if you don't have the structure, which is your values, your character, you will never be able to sustain it. And so that's why I tell people, um, I tell people your your values must be bigger than your goals.
I love that.
Because yeah,
That's like we talk about that extensively. I sound like a broken record on Moxie
yeah.
of like know your core values because if you know your core values, then all of a sudden you have the best platform to say your easiest yeses and your best nos. Like I
Hmm.
think we get so convoluted with like, oh, should I step into this opportunity or not? Especially if you are growing as an entrepreneur. Welcome to the Moxie Podcast. I am so thrilled to be in the month of March. We are talking about mindset, and today I have Charles with us. And so I'm just going to hop right in because I just love our listeners to just grab a hold of who's here, who's in the room, and why they should be so excited to be listening today. So, Charles, how about you tell us a little bit about who you are, but and also what you're best known for?
Who am I? I think
Yeah, I
that's
know
a
that's a very broad question.
yeah, yeah. It's a loaded one that you got to open
Yes.
the book. But who am I? I would say I'm someone who's loving, forgiving, understanding, wants to see the best in people. Someone who is an encourager, no matter what, and in tough situations, even in your success. But what I do as a profession, I travel around the world, helping people thrive. I speak on mindset and resilience, and I've been fortunate to do this as a profession, to actually get paid to speak on the stage. I mean, who would ever thought that? I'm a dreamer, and I think my message is all about thriving. Thriving is in our DNA. Every single one of us can do it. No matter if you had a setback, no matter if you had one of the best seasons of your life, there's another version inside of you. And so that's me.
I love it. So obviously, talking about resiliency, thriving, and just even mindset alone, you probably had to go through something to get to that and to be able to face that and those different adversities. Would you like to share a little bit about just your background and story of what got you to be able to travel around and speak on this, which I think is I'm a dreamer too. So I'm like, it's a dream job to be able to like speak about passions and encourage people. I love being in rooms where you see people get it and they like lights up. It's always one of my joys.
Yeah. And just a side note, my dog likes to walk around whenever I'm going to do a podcast interview or want to get a hop on a interview or a meeting or something. He's always like, if you hear him scatting around like that, that's him.
It's
FYI.
okay. I have three small kids, so if you hear them scatting around and popping in here, that's what happens. This we
Yeah.
we keep it real here on Moxie. There's not actually a lot of cuts and edits, so we're just here. We're just
Let's
here to have a good
go.
conversation.
No, but my story, I would say it really didn't get started till the adversity. I was a
Mm,
world-class athlete, and I don't know, for some reason I thought I was gonna run my entire life. But after I became the sixth fastest man in the world at World Championships, and actually it was in Berlin where they had Hitler and all the divide, and they had the Olympics there back in 1936, I believe. But Jesse Owens, that's when he won a lot of the gold medals there. And the USA, we honored him with the JO on our uniform. So that was a pretty cool experience. And that's where Usain Bolt, he broke the world record on everybody. And I got a back row seating of it because I got sixth. But I love the fact that after that, I wouldn't think that I would love the fact of it now, but I had a devastating injury in my career, and I end up moving back in with my old roommate, my mom, if you wondering, right? And at that time in my life, I was just trying to search for what the heck am I going to do with my life now? Uh, and my mom, like I remember, she was in the room pacing back and forth. She never seen me so broken, and she was like, "Son, what do you need me to do to fix this?" And I'm like, "Mom, I don't know, but I got to tell you, this is not on you. It's on me. I'm the one that got to be responsible for this." And so I had to ask myself that important question: what do I need to do to fix this? And that word that really came to me was thrive. Like
Mm,
thrive. And I'm like, what does all that entail? And I really had to define that for me. And when you're thriving in something, you're rising, you're propelling forward, you're pushing past the barriers. And I had to find a way to tap into that in my circumstance. And that's when I would start a nonprofit that would impact over 40,000 students. I dabbled into photography and had a photography business, and then all those things would lead to me doing what I'm doing right now. And so I just say that sometimes in life you just got to go through what you're going through in order to get
mhm,
to the other side. Because if I never would have experienced this injury, if I never would have moved back home, or if I never started that nonprofit or started that photography business, I wouldn't have the capacity to do what I'm doing right now, because nonprofit work showed me how to do contracts. Photography taught me branding, and going through my situation that I went through with my devastating injury, it taught me that we can rise up, that we can thrive, that we can be resilient, that we can experience like post traumatic growth, and not just this idea that this was just traumatic at the end of the day. So, um, I'm glad that life showed me that, because I feel the things that are really big to most people, they're smaller than me. And I'm
mhm.
not downgrading that, but we go through life, but life can show you how to be patient. Life can show you the strength and being loving to yourself at the same time. So that's just a little bit about me.
I love it. I right there is just like so many good nuggets. But I want to
Yeah.
backtrack because I feel like there's so much I can relate to in the sense of like, okay, I'm at this space, I feel adversity and potentially also misunderstood because my identity has been in this thing for so long. So I'm going to take a little bit of a curve than what I planned because I think this somewhat and especially in achievers when we hit certain goals and then something drastic and traumatic happens and then again like you're saying you're at your mom's house kind of pacing figuring out what's next. Can you put yourself back there and kind of walk us through what were the steps that took you to like sit down and think, okay, I want to start a nonprofit or I want to do these things? Because I think at times we get a little stuck and a little narrow minded when we're like done this and this is what I'm known. One of my questions, what are you best known for? And a lot of
Mhm.
people immediately go into obviously career. And I love how you started describing like characteristics that you're best known for. Most people don't do that on my podcast. So I love that because
Ah.
it's like I love because that also shows like this other side of our legacy we want to leave. Like I want people to remember me as, all these different things. But could
Yeah.
you tell our listeners a little bit like because I'm sure some people are in some hard spaces right now, like what you had to do, because that also relates a bit to mindset too, like what you had to do to
Mhm.
get out of that and kind of shift what you're known for too and build new things.
Yeah. The first thing I'll say is, when you hit a low, what I had to do was I had to stop let life just happening. You know, I
Mm,
think sometimes we just wake up and we say, I just want to get through the day. We wake up and say, thank God it's Friday, or I'm glad it's hump day. And we don't create it. We don't create the intention that we want to live out. And so I had to say, all right, I'm creating it from this point on. You know,
mm,
and so what changed in me? I think it was really one of the things was my morning routine. I was somebody who I cut on the TV in the morning and watch the news, and I hop out of the bed tired, feeling when I was in that depressive mode. And I said, this has to change. I remember, I never forget it. I was watching Al Roker, I think that's his name, on Today's Show, Today's Show, and he was dressed before I even got out of bed. And I was like, man, that's a problem now. Like, if I'm watching the news and these people are dressed for success, they're ready to go. Why am I still in bed right now? Why am I not getting ready? So immediately what I did that same day, I took out the old TV in my in my room. I threw it out. I threw it out into the hallway. I was like, "Yo, I'm done. I'm done. No more TV in the room." And I changed my mindset about it. And what else did I change? I changed from feeling sorry for myself. I remember I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I just had this weight on me. I felt that I needed to be, in order for me to be respected and appreciated, I needed a gold medal around my neck.
Mm,
And so it was very hard for me to even look at myself as I brushed my teeth. And so I changed that. What did I change? I changed my language. That was the second thing. Like my language was so important. Language, it dictates everything. It dictates your posture. Language, it even manifests the life that you have. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And
so
so
true.
I had to be aware of what I was speaking over myself first thing in the morning. And so that's why I'm a big advocate for like words. I say words to myself every single morning I wake up now because I don't want yesterday to run into the day. I want to create a new life because not too many people get the opportunity to wake up and live and to dream or to have the audacity to create something that's meaningful in their life, a legacy. I change my words. Uh, and those important aspects of like getting up, not just letting life happening and changing my words was one of the pivotal things for me that allowed me to get to this place of a healthier version of me, and a more resilient mindset.
I love that. I think words, people, community, like all of like what we surround ourselves with, what we
Yeah.
put into our life is such a big thing. I have this calendar it's like you pick one off every day. My
Oh
husband
yeah.
gets it for me like every year. And it's just like today it says, you are everything you need. And I'm like, yeah,
Come
I
on.
am. I'm everything I need. Yesterday it said, you are decisive. And I was like, yeah, I'm
Mm,
decisive. So I
yeah.
think like feeding yourself with that is so important. And I think most of the people that I mentor or coach too, it's
Hmm.
crazy to me who they seek out advice from, because I'm like, those are not the people that need to be speaking into your life too. And so
Right.
I would love for you to expand on that, because I think it's important to share and have community, but I also think it's important to have kind of boundaries and guard who you're bringing in to that
Oh,
space, because it is sacred when you are maybe sharing a dream or sharing that and the right people that
yeah.
potentially should be. And I'd be curious who those
Hmm.
have been in your life and how you maybe found that circle of people and what you would tell others.
Well, I would say one is there is two unique differences between the people that you let in your life and the people who you let in and people who are around your life, right? And so I
Mhm.
kind of differentiate those two between people in my circle of influence and then people I'm called to influence. Like people in my circle of influence, they know my business. They know my most vulnerable parts, and I
Mhm.
share with them because I can confide to them and they will give me sound advice. And then there's people that I'm called to influence, right? That I get on the stage, I speak to hundreds of thousands of people, and I don't need to be broken in front of them. You know, I
Right.
don't need to share things that in me that I didn't work out in therapy or I didn't work out with my, in a group of
Right.
friends because I'd be a hot mess on the stage. And so I think sometimes what we do in life is we share with the wrong people, whether it is you're married and maybe certain people shouldn't have access to your relationship, right? Whether that be your coworkers or whether that be a guy or female. Maybe people shouldn't have access to your dream. If you don't see people who are working on their dreams, why would you trust somebody who is not showing an ounce of gratitude of the life and calling God has put on your life to give to
Mm.
them to influence you? So it's so important that you pick people that are modeling the life that you want to live if you're going to share something with them. And that's one of the ways that I do it. And I'm always, for me, I'm always looking for God like, yo, show me a sign. do I need to be with these people? Like take some people out of my life, and not in a
Yes,
destructive way, but like take some people out of my life. If they don't need to be here, go ahead. There's a time and a season for everything.
for sure.
And sometimes what we do is we like to carry last season stuff into this new territory that you're in. But I think we got to understand it's okay to let go of certain things. And it's okay to be happy when you do let it go, knowing that it's one of the best things that you can do. And if it wasn't meant for you to let those things go, hey, life will happen and it will put you back in alignment for those things to be. But you got to live your life and be around the people who want to live too. So, yeah.
I like that. I constantly, it's a scary prayer, but I constantly pray for God to refine my life in different ways. And I'm like, "Ooh," like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm
That
like,
dangerous
I,
prayer.
it's a very dangerous prayer. I'm like, not sure I want it, but I know I need it. And like, whether that's with the people or that's just in my rhythms or my routines and
Yep.
whatnot. I'd be curious if there's a scripture, anything for you that is maybe like that leads you in your life, or that you feel that, the Lord's really speaking to you at this time.
Mm. It comes and goes to me. Like I don't have anyone that's like to my soul for this
Yeah.
year just yet. But I'm constantly reading the word every day, trying to, just draw closer to him. But here's the thing that I can say I've been working on is a relationship of prayer. Uh
Mm,
and because for me, I'll read it, I'll, digest it, but then I won't pray about it.
mm,
And like I think that can be the biggest disservice for me to draw closer to God for my with the problems that I have. And I think that's something that I'm working with, like me and him,
hmm
to really just I just want to talk to you regular. I don't want to have this scripted prayer, but I just want to come to you with all my brokenness, with all my excitement, with all my eagerness, and just have that real conversation. But I'm learning that it's just easy to just be who you are because one of the things about God, he adapts. He's the same yesterday and today, but he adapts to you,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
sees you, he understands you, and so I just be like, "Yo, what up, God? I'm struggling right now. Help me out with this because I'm trying to figure it out, man. I don't even know what's going on." And
Yeah,
I just wanted that real relationship that's authentic. So
for
yeah.
sure. I threw a
Hmm.
curveball with some faith conversation there.
Oh, we sure
Um,
did go there. Yeah, yeah.
okay, so we're
But
in
it's a
20.
part, but it's a part of mindset.
Yeah,
Um,
it
it's a part,
is.
it's a part of mindset. I always say, the size of your faith is the measure of your goal, right?
I love it.
So yeah, if you have big faith, you'll have big goals. If you have little faith, you have little goals. And then also, but if you want to go a little deeper, well, what is your faith tied to? Because sometimes our faith is fleeting. Sometimes our faith is just in ourselves that we can do it.
Hmm
But there's so many things that are out there that are beyond ourselves. I've only been here for, 36 years of my life. There's got to be something that's bigger than me that I want to believe in. And
hmm
so I'm always hooking to that idea. Where is my faith right now? The biggest problem that I see with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of athletes that I've coached, is not in their skill set, but it's in the mindset. Mindset is tied to your faith. Uh, and what else is tied to your faith? Your thoughts. Your
hmm
thoughts control your actions. Actions drive your behaviors. Behaviors create an entire different lifestyle for you. And so, you know, when we talk about entrepreneurs, whether it's you started that business and you're starting to run ads and you're investing into PR or whatever the case that you need to do to invest in to improve the quality of your life, where's your faith at when you do it? Like, are
hmm
you in doubting mode? Like, ah, man, I just spent a whole bunch of money. But that's the mindset of like you're not investing. So like, so what type of faith are you practicing in your action? In your action, not just you just saying this is what I want to do and that's what you believe in, but in your
hmm
action, do you believe big? And what I mean by that is like, would you bet on you? Like, would you
Yeah.
go all in on yourself? Like, would I put $1 million on the line? because I believe in this dream so big. Would you bet on that? And then that's when people get silent. But
Yeah, because there's these limiting beliefs that we're consistently fighting with, right? I say our
yeah,
biggest barrier, our biggest enemy is ourselves and getting past the mindset. I love, by the way, your sign behind you that says drown your doubt. I would love for you to expand on that of the scarcity versus kind of that abundance mindset, because that's pretty much in a quick nutshell what we're getting at is like, how are you
yeah,
showing up? I always say God's starting point is impossible, and how are we actually believing like his starting point is impossible, and we're like leaping with that and knowing, okay,
yeah,
impossible it is, like what's going to happen, and fully trusting in the process. So if someone is sitting in that kind of limiting belief space and they're like, I just in that doubt, what would
yeah.
you say, like how do they even like start to like think in abundance? Because I think I've talked to a lot of people, and like especially the faith world is kind of funny with abundance and manifestation and stuff, but
Mhm.
I love it because I think words like speak it out. I love doing vision boards, and I love looking back and
Yeah.
being like, yeah, Jenny, look what I did because I said that. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
set that
Yeah.
up. I started my year and I said that's going to happen. And look, I surrounded myself with a community of people that made that happen. When I wanted to start looking at investment, I put myself on tables. I knew I was going to be like the lower level investor, but I was like, I got to be around these people because I want to make sure that I'm going to progress in that way. So I think what would be that if when you stand on stage and when you share this with people, like and someone is just like doubting and suching, like what's
Hmm.
kind of that first like shake moment you give them?
Well, I try to give them the easiest advice.
Mm,
And sometimes we're trying to stretch ourselves too far. We're trying to be a 8-inch pot when we're really a 4-inch pot. And you know, I talk about this. So much things I want to talk about, but I try to keep it short. Um, so I'm not asking people to downgrade their level of expectation for themselves, but I'm asking you to downgrade your capacity. Why do we struggle? In most instances, why we struggle, we procrastinate, we don't live out that dream is because we're putting too much on our plate.
mm,
And the moment we put too much on our plate, we feel like we can't. I don't know where to start. And so I would say grab to the easiest thing, right? The easiest thing is firstly, it's going to be your attitude about certain things, right? So let's just say, for example, you know, some people struggle with the idea of having financial wealth. You know, some people believe that money is the root of all evil. But at the same time, I got bills. You know, I got a life that I'm trying to live. And so we have that cognitive dissonance between those two things, and so you want to grab to the easiest thing. Well, the easiest thing is I want to live. Well, what else do you want? Right? Um, I want to be healthy and well and provide for my family. Right? And so that's easily shifting your mindset from that scarcity or lack of mindset to
mm,
being something of abundance because you deserve it. And so you want to check those different areas of attitude that you have in your life that may be causing you to not show up the way you need to show up in your faith. Again, it's all going to come back to those thoughts, faith and action, excuse me, thoughts and your belief system is the central system for your
mm.
behavior. It's everything. And so check your attitude. Um, so that's one of the first things that I would say do. And the question again was, I'm sorry.
Just if someone's in that moment of just like, how do I even get out of
Doubt
that,
mode.
which yeah,
Yeah.
that doubt mode, because
Uh-huh.
I feel that's, I love how you said reach for what is first. Like, don't try to, because I think that too, people try to reach too far, get overwhelmed, and then it like puts them back a couple steps. But I also believe too, I mean, you already said it starts with the power of words, and then, getting the right people in your space too is so, I don't know, such a good foundation to even
Yeah.
start with
It's a
that
it's
first
a
next step.
it's an easy step to take. And you know, I do it every morning. In fact, like I started a new season of a different habit. And one of the habits is creating my will statements. Actually, you know, you guys can actually download it on my website.
I know. I was like, I think I
Yeah.
saw this on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
website.
Yeah, but
Or
with
wait,
these,
show notes, putting it in a
yeah,
plug
show
here.
notes. There
You'll
it
find
is.
it.
Yeah. But one of the things that I've been doing is I've been creating will statements for the different problems that we face on a day to
Mm,
day. So the one that I created today was about a will statement affirmation on character, right? So this is the affirmation. It says, "I have the right to be free and to live a good life. Therefore, I will have the courage to have unwavering character, even when I'm under pressure or when my thoughts are clouded by distraction, because I conduct myself with excellence. If I make a mistake, I'll learn from it quickly. When I succeed, I will maintain the same level of work ethic." Because we need those reminders. We're not perfect people. We're not robots. And um, having those anchors to hold you down, like when life is in turmoil and shaky, that can be a firm foundation for you. And the other thing is, how do you override that negative thought process? Is your values. Your
mm,
values are like your foundation.
yep.
Like if you want to build something great, remember I said the size of your faith is a measure of your goal.
Yep.
But then what also is important is the structure of your life, right? So you can have these big faith and these big goals, but if you don't have the structure, which is your values, your character, you will never be able to sustain it. And so that's why I tell people, um, I tell people your your values must be bigger than your goals.
I love that. And
Because yeah,
that's like we talk about that extensively. I sound like a broken record on Moxie
yeah.
of like know your core values, because if you know your core values, then all of a sudden you have the best platform to say your easiest yeses and your best nos. Like I
Hmm.
think we get so convoluted with like, oh, should I step into this opportunity or not, especially if you are growing as an entrepreneur.
Oh
But you'll
yeah.
know immediately if it's in alignment, if you are grounded in that truth and your values. And I've
Right.
never thought of it from the perspective of your values being greater than your goals. I like
It
that.
must be. It must
Yeah.
be because I'm a world class athlete. I'm retired, but I'm still an athlete. But this is why athletes do drugs. They
Mm,
put this is why athletes do steroids. This is why athletes um they lose themselves when they no longer can do it. Why
mm,
is that? Because they said to themselves, I will get this goal at any cost. That means I'll cheat for it if I have to, right?
mm.
This means that the goal of being a gold medalist is everything to me. And if I don't achieve it, then I'm nothing. When your goals are bigger than what you value about yourself, you don't have a strong foundation because you'll cave in.
Yeah.
You'll end up broken like I was when I no longer could run track. And but understanding at the end of the day, you are enough. You're more than enough, as I always tell people. And
Mm,
no title can ever qualify who you are because you're already qualified. But we
yeah.
do it the other way. We think I got to get this. I have to arrive to this thing before I can say I'm worthy to be loved, to appreciated, to receive. But it's the complete opposite. What is your value? You say what your value is. And when you hold to those values, guess what happens? Life yields to you exactly what you wanted
Mm,
because you've been that person. You've been that person of character. Like, you know, I don't need somebody to tell me um that that I have a that I have a good mindset, right? For example. I just live that way. Like I don't care what you think
yeah.
about it. I just live that way because that's just a part of who I am. And somebody else telling me, thank you, that's cool. But I know who I am at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Or I know that I'm somebody that's gonna respect people. So when somebody else tells me, oh man, I see how respectful you are to the other folks, that's just who I am, you know.
Yeah.
And so you gotta have your foundation. And because that will help you in moments where you you don't want to, or the moments where you are troubled, that mindset of values will drive your behavior instead of you letting the fleeting emotions do it.
Okay, we could talk for like hours because I'm just like, yes, yes. I do want to ask a couple questions because I'm always curious of this answer. And then I want you to tell us what's going on this year of just like what you're excited about. But how would you, um, in yeah, your own words, how would you define success?
How would I define success?
Hmm.
Um, Everything intrinsic that makes me feel bliss, love, and respect. That's it.
Like,
That's
mic
that's
drop.
all. That's all I got.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I normally don't ask that question, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm at this like cusp of in my life where I'm like, what is success? I think when we're younger and, pushing out all these different achievements and something really central identifies us,
Hmm.
I think you get to a point where you're just like, yeah, where am I reaching? Because there is no quote unquote arriving. It's just being at this place of living and living your best life with the mindset that is, I'm going to show up every day in the best version of myself with compassion and love and grace,
Yeah.
in all those aspects. But okay, so you talk to a lot of people, you motivate a lot of people. What are you excited about this year? Is there something you're really proud of or you're
Yeah.
excited that's happening in 2024?
Well, a book that I have been writing for the past like 11 years, I feel like. I finally said I'm done. In a good
Oh,
way. And so that's one of my proudest collections. So that'd be my third book. In
congrats.
less than a year. So I wrote three books.
Wow.
In under 3 years. So that's really exciting for me. That was a very intrinsic goal of mine. And just really excited that, if you are resilient enough, you
Mm.
can get the outcome. And don't worry about what everybody else is doing or their timeline. Just keep showing up as your best. And that's what I decided to do.
I like that. We'll put all of that information, show
Oh
notes
yeah.
is the bucket, the great treasures there we'll put there. And then lastly, as we end our time today, first of all, you guys have to go check out Charles' website. It is amazing. I was like navigating through it. I love how it's designed and just it's I'm all about aesthetics and is this easy to navigate? So on that, I'm like, this is awesome.
Hey, thank
But
you.
it also is just very engaging and has tons of resources. So like he was saying, his statements, will statements, which by the way, you do that every day.
Yeah. Monday through Friday.
Guys, hear that every day. He does that every day. You guys can do that too. I do a lot of gratitude practices with my kids of like, what are we grateful for? And I feel like it's so funny. Every morning I tell our kids, I was like, the Nuccio kids are, and they go, we're kind.
Hey,
I'm
let's
like,
go.
I've like embedded this in their head that we are kind. And so the other day
Yep.
we were going outside, I was like wanting them to have fun. So I was like, the Nuccio kids are gonna have, and I wanted them to say fun, and they're like, we're gonna be kind. And I was like, at least we got that one, we got
Yeah.
that one thing in there. But yeah, so we'll share the will statements. Just yeah, we want to encourage you guys to just continue to show up your best self every day, especially in the Smoxy community, to just know that mindset is a big thing. And as we've been talking about it over this month, we like it's not always easy and we have our moments day in and day out, but you have the power to shift that. And Charles has a lot of great resources on his website we'll share. But as we end our time together, we always end with a little bit of wisdom for you guys to leave with. And so I would love to ask you, what is one last thing that you would like to leave us with? One last thing to live by.
One last thing to live by. Being patient, it yields strength and perseverance. So be kind to yourself in the process and know when you are just relaxed about it, life yields to you the strength that you need to get through it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the podcast today. And for all of our listeners, as always, Moxie on.